I'm Scarlett Collins.
And I'm Leora Meller, and this is our presentation on how does ocean acidification affect the exoskeleton of the purple sea urchin.
Strongylocentrotus purpuratus.
Before we begin, we would like to thank Northwest Academy for supporting us and NMEA 2026 Meeting of the Waters for selecting us for their conference. We would like to acknowledge that the Oregon coast is the ancestral homeland of the indigenous peoples, like the Clatsop, Chinook, and Klatskin, who have stewarded these lands and waters for hundreds of years. As we studied the purple sea urchin, we recognize that they are a part of a marine ecosystems that indigenous communities understand, care for, and depend upon.
In this presentation, we will introduce you to ocean acidification and the purple sea urchin, the ecological role of the purple sea urchin, effects of ocean acidification, future considerations, 2 original creative projects, and our solution, blue carbon ecosystems. What you should know about the purple sea urchin. They are primary producers on rocky shores, grazers, that feed on red, brown, and green algae. They are phylogenetically related to sea stars, sand dollars, and sea cucumbers. They live on rocky shorelines between Vancouver Island, Isla Cedros, Baja California. This diagram shows that coastline, and it's a 25-hour drive between both points. Their main predator is a sea otter, and they pose a direct threat to kelp forest ecosystem integrity because they eat kelp and cause a loss of structural integrity of the ecosystems.
While sea otters are purple sea urchin's main predator, we wanted to share a very special experience we recently had. Northwest Academy got to host Elizabeth Roberts' marine debris otter, which is very important to us because while Northwest Academy is not a school directly on the ocean, Portland is only a 2-hour drive away from the coast, and it is a place that we hold very dear to our hearts. Understanding the biochemistry of ocean acidification. Ocean acidification is a reduction in the pH of the global ocean. The current pH is 8.1, and the projected pH by 2100 is 7.6 to 7.95. This seems like a small number, but it's a very drastic change for the ocean. Ocean acidification causes carbonate ions to be less abundant. The decreasing of the carbonate ions results in calcium carbonate structures to become harder to build and maintain strength. This affects around 25% of all marine life, including the purple sea urchin. The purple sea urchin has a shell called a test that becomes weaker due to the lack of carbonate ions. Therefore, it takes more energy for them to maintain the durability of their shell. To the right, you can see a diagram of ocean acidification on a molecular level. Mukbang! This is a time-lapse of the purple sea urchin eating kelp. While you watch, here are some fun facts for you. Purple sea urchins can survive years without food in barren areas. Sea otters, sunflower stars, and California sheephead prey on the purple sea urchin. Sea otter predation on the purple sea urchin helps protect kelp forests from destruction. Sea otters that regularly eat the purple sea urchin are easily detected. Their bones and teeth turn sea urchin purple. When sea otter populations decline, urchin populations go unchecked and can decimate entire kelp forests in a short period of time. This is called an urchin barren, an example of how healthy ecosystems depend on keeping predator-prey populations in balance. In the intertidal zone, a purple sea urchin will decorate itself with shells, rocks, and pieces of algae. Scientists think this behavior protects the urchin from drying out, getting eaten by gulls, or being damaged by the sun's ultraviolet rays. When a sea star strives to get near an urchin, the urchin moves its spines aside and lets the sea star's arm get really close. Then, the pincers chomp on the sea star's tube feet. The sea star immediately backs off. However, purple sea urchin's pincers can't defend against sunflower stars. If a sunflower star approaches, an urchin waves its spines and pincers and retreats. If the urchin doesn't move away fast enough, the sunflower star swallows the urchin whole.
What is the purple sea urchin's life cycle? Purple sea urchin are broadcast spawners like sea cucumbers and sand dollars. Broadcast spawning is essentially when a purple sea urchin releases both egg and sperm into the water, making them hermaphrodites. After the egg and sperm is released, they hope as many sperm fertilize as many eggs as possible. In a purple sea urchin's life cycle, sperm fertilizes the egg cell evolves into larval stage, which is where ocean acidification affects the test evolution the most. This is because during the larval stage is when the test of a purple sea urchin is being formed. This purple sea urchin then evolves into a juvenile with a 13% reduction in test thickness. Then it is most likely killed by sea otters or other predators due to increased susceptibility to predator attacks. This is a diagram of the purple sea urchin's life cycle in a nutshell.
I did my article analysis on UCSB's Rapid Adaptation is Purple Sea Urchin's Weapon Against Ocean Acidification. The purple sea urchin is an ecologically important or keystone species, which is a species that has a disproportionately large impact on its ecosystem. Purple sea urchins can strongly influence kelp forest ecosystems because their grazing can determine whether kelp forests thrive or collapse into urchin barrens. Ocean acidification essentially gives the purple sea urchin osteoporosis, which is tiny holes in their test that affect maintenance and durability. In a study done by UCSB, the purple sea urchin was exposed to 1,100 parts per million of CO2 to simulate future ocean acidity levels. The experiment discovered that some purple sea urchins were found to have a higher tolerance to the acidic waters. This is important because it means that the purple sea urchin has a higher chance of adapting and surviving ocean acidification than initially expected. In the pie charts, you can see the depiction of the purple sea urchin's energy levels. The furthest right pie chart displays the current ways the purple sea urchin is spending its energy. In red, we see maintenance taking over the majority of the pie. Blue, which is growth, and green is the smallest piece of the pie, is reproduction, which is a very important part of keeping a species alive. The left chart displays the optimal way the purple sea urchin could be spending their energy. Maintenance still gets a decently large piece, but growth and reproduction also take up more of the pie.
Test your knowledge.
What kind of producer is the purple sea urchin?
Primary.
What is the purple sea urchin's main predator?
Sea otter.
What does ocean acidification technically give the purple sea urchin?
Osteoporosis. For my article analysis, I decided to analyze an article by UNESCO titled Blue Carbon. Before I talk about blue carbon ecosystems, I wanted to introduce you to what UNESCO stands for. UNESCO stands for United Nations Education, Scientific, and Cultural Organization. It's an agency of the UN with a role of building world peace and security through international cooperation. They solve problems through education, research, and making tools, such as this article. Blue carbon ecosystems refer to marine habitats such as seagrasses and salt marshes depicted in the image to the right. They're being degraded 4 times the rate of tropical forests due to climate change and pollution. Blue carbon ecosystems could play a crucial role in slowing climate change and ocean acidification due to its ability to store carbon in its soil, which reduces the CO2 in the ocean, causing the acidity to stabilize. The diagram to the right shows this process where the CO2 is absorbed by the soil and stabilizes the ocean acidity and pH.
Chemistry-based solutions include acknowledging that the purple sea urchin is highly adaptable. As you saw in the previous slide, blue carbon ecosystems, which in a nutshell are coastal marine habitats that assist in storing large amounts of carbon. Below you can see the chemical equation. And one of the most important, mitigating carbon emissions. Some ways you can do that are transitioning to renewable energy, adopting clean power, and electrify infrastructure. Improving energy efficiency, upgrading lighting and appliances, using LEDs because they use up to 75% less energy. Better insulation. If you weatherize your home, you don't have to use heating and cooling as much. Sustainable transportation. Walking, biking, using public transit whenever possible, is extremely important. Driving efficiently and thinking about carpooling. Optimizing consumption and waste, reducing, reusing, and recycling, and composting. Some more natural solutions include planting native species and restoring forests to naturally sequester carbon from the atmosphere. Restoring native seagrass and eelgrass meadows raises the local pH of waterbeds, transforming degraded bays into safe, low-acid climate refuges for nearby marine life. Eating a plant-forward diet can also lower agricultural footprints. Eating more grains, vegetables, and legumes, which require significantly less land and energy than livestock. You can also deploy carbon capture technology and trap industrial emissions.
Call to action, what you can do.
Just a reminder, purple sea urchins are crucial echinoderms to the marine ecosystem. They're keystone species, so if they're affected, other species are going to be impacted too. Without the purple sea urchin, reefs would collapse and there would be invasive algae growth throughout the ocean. Reefs collapsing would cause massive marine extinction because 25% of all marine life are supported by reefs.
Ecotourism. Refrain from destroying habitats and anchoring into the seafloor, because that can destroy blue carbon ecosystems and our one chance for fighting against ocean acidification. Refrain from tide pooling and touching marine life when snorkeling can also make a huge difference. Minimize use of pesticides and fertilizers because pesticides disrupt marine food webs and kill phytoplankton, which do have the ability to reduce CO2 levels in the ocean. Advocate for these small but mighty sea creatures. They need your help and they are a crucial part of the marine food web. For my creative project, I decided to make a physical model of the purple sea urchin. On this physical model is the ocean acidification equation. I made this model by painting a styrofoam ball purple. Then I used purple pipe cleaners to represent the spikes on a purple sea urchin. I then found white clothespins that I deconstructed and stuck into the styrofoam ball. I chose to depict the ocean acidification on the model because ocean acidification is written onto their life story. They didn't get a choice to live during a time where pollution, ocean acidification, and climate change is relevant. A physical model also makes the species seem less foreign, and I hope this makes people realize that these are real living creatures that need help.
I had 2 parts to my creative project. The first part was I took a family recipe and I made banana chocolate chip muffins. I then got vanilla icing and dyed it purple, coating the banana chocolate chip muffin. I then got white chocolate, dyeing that purple too. I rolled pretzel sticks in them until they were fully covered, and then stuck them inside of the banana chocolate chip muffins to make a depiction of the purple sea urchin. The second part to my creative project was an original stop motion using these cupcakes. Before I play the video, I would like to give a huge thank you to Eli Swartley, a senior and one of my classmates, who created original music to go with my stop motion animation. Now please enjoy my ocean acidification story.
This is our work cited, APA formatted in an alphabetical order. Thank you so much for listening to our presentation and giving us your time.
Another huge thank you to Northwest Academy and NMEA 2026 Meeting of the Waters for selecting us for your conference.